welcome. You're watching Good Morning India. I'm Gargi Rawat. Thanks so much for tuning in. Up ahead, all the news you need to follow. Disturbing news coming in from Karnataka, where there's been a dynamite blast. Let's take a look at the headlines we're tracking. At least 8 people have died in a massive dynamite blast in a railway crushing site in Karnataka's Shivamogga. The shockwaves were felt in neighbouring districts. Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray will visit Pune Serum Institute of India today after a fire at the institute in which 5 people died. The 11th round of talks between the farmer representatives and union ministers will take place today as the farmer unions have rejected the government offer to pause farm laws for 1.5 years. As the centre pushes the vaccine drive with nearly 10 lakh people inoculated so far, Prime Minister Modi will interact with beneficiaries and vaccinators in Varanasi today afternoon. Expelled AIADMK leader VK Sasikala has tested positive for coronavirus. She's been shifted to the COVID intensive care unit in Bengaluru. And barring another wave of COVID infections, the worst is over for India's economy, says the RBI, says policymakers may soon have more room to support a recovery. Well, our top story now, and at least 8 people were killed in a dynamite blast at a railway crusher site in Karnataka's Shivamogga district on Friday night. We're still waiting for an official number of the people who've died, and the rescue teams will be moving in a short while. Now, the victims were reportedly transporting a truck for explosives meant for mining when the explosion took place. According to reports, the blast was so strong that window panes shattered, while many houses and even roads developed cracks. NDTV and the Prime Minister has also tweeted, the Prime Minister's office tweeting that pained by the loss of lives in Shivamogga, condolences to the bereaved families, praying that the injured recover soon. The state government is providing all possible assistance to the affected.
Several people are believed to have died in a blast that occurred near Shivamogga in Karnataka late last night. It is believed that the blast took place because of explosives that were being used for quarrying. The blast took place at a stone quarry a few kilometers, maybe about 7 kilometers from the city of Shivamogga. The exact number of dead is still not officially out. The police control room, though, indicated that at least 8 people were feared dead, but official figures are still out. Details are still to come in with exactitude because it is believed that live dynamite may still be there at the site. And of course, extreme caution has to be exercised before actually going in and ascertaining what happened. They are trying to actually defuse the dynamite to make sure there are no more explosions. Senior police officials have been on the site since late last night. It is said also that a truck which was carrying the explosives has also been completely destroyed. Now, it was in fact feared last night that it was an earthquake. Now, this was quickly confirmed by officials that no earthquake actually happened in that area. But a loud noise heard in Shivamogga and surrounding areas at 10:30 p.m. late on Thursday night, and people believed to have died in that blast, following that blast. It is believed as of now that the blast was accidental, that it has taken lives, that it was caused by explosive used for granite quarrying. But more details are awaited as investigations are still on into that tragic blast in Shivamogga late last night. Maya Sharma for NDTV.
And from Karnataka news now from Pune, where a massive blaze left 5 people dead on Thursday at vaccine maker Serum Institute's Pune facility at a building that is under construction. A second fire then broke out hours later and then was brought under control. It's unlikely to hit a production of the Covishield, that's the coronavirus vaccine that has been developed by the Serum Institute of India in partnership with the Oxford University and British-Swedish firm AstraZeneca. Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray will be visiting Pune's Serum Institute of India today, a day after that massive fire broke out. Adar Poonawalla had tweeted on on the news of the fire. He said that we have just received some distressing updates. Upon further investigation, we've learned there has unfortunately been some loss of life at the incident. We are deeply saddened and offer our deepest condolences to the family members of the departed.
वजह वेल्डिंग का काम वहाँ पर चालू था और वेल्डिंग के स्पार्क जो होते हैं उस स्पार्क इंसुलेशन मटेरियल इर्द गिर्द पड़ा था, तो वो इंसुलेशन मटेरियल इन्फ्लेमेबल होता है, वो इमीडिएटली फायर हुआ, फायर पकड़ा उन्होंने और आग थोड़ी फैली.
Well, let's go across to Purva Chitnis now for more. And Purva, very, very distressing, this fire taking place. 5 people have died, and today the Chief Minister of Maharashtra will be visiting the institute.
Yes, very distressing indeed. And right now I am standing outside that building. If I can ask my camera person to zoom in, that is the building where the fire broke out yesterday afternoon around 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. And the upper top floors, in fact, of that building were in fact, engulfed in fire. So in this incident, 5 people have been died, and that is the reason. Now, in fact, the complete probe is being ordered by the government. In fact, even the Deputy Chief Minister Ajit Pawar, who was here yesterday night, and he has also said that he's spoken with the officials and has asked for a complete investigation in this matter. However, in fact, the prima facie investigation that is leading to the electrical work that was going on inside that building, that was an under construction building, and electrical work, AC repair work was going on, and the welding work was going on, and there was this insulation material all across that place, and because of welding work, the sparks flew, and the insulation material caught fire, and that was the reason the fire broke out. Now, this is the prima facie investigation that the officials here did, but however, a complete investigation has been ordered even today. In fact, today is when the auditors will come here. They will inspect the building, and a complete investigation will begin. But yes, definitely in this 5 contractors or laborers who were working inside that building, they unfortunately lost their lives. 2 were from Uttar Pradesh, 2 from Bihar, 2 from local Pune here, and 1 was from Bihar. So 5 of them lost their lives. About 6 of them were rescued, but 5 people could not be rescued because they were on the top floor, and the massive smoke was in fact hampering the fire control operations. And once the smoke was brought under control, that's when the fire officers went inside, and that's where they found the bodies of these 5 people, the 5 contractors who were working in this building. And what also the Deputy Chief Minister Ajit Pawar also said, that this the information that he got is that this building, there was a rotavirus vaccine was to be built, and that is why the plant and installation work was going on. So nothing related to Covishield, but this was an under construction building, and the work was going on to build. And Serum Institute is a big manufacturing of different vaccines, nothing related to Covishield, but rotavirus vaccine was supposed to be manufactured here, and that is why the building was to be constructed, and electrical work was going on, because of which this fire broke out yesterday. But a full investigation has been ordered, and around noon is when Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray will also come here and visit this facility.
All right, Purva, thanks so much for joining us with those details. So 5 people dead in that fire that broke out at the Serum Institute's facility there in Pune. Now, if we talk about the vaccination drive taking place across India, India is set to cross the 10 lakh beneficiaries number today, and that's according to the data available from all the states. Average of 55 doses are happening per session. Remember, the initial target was 100 doses per session. Changes in CoWIN app, which is the app on which people, beneficiaries are supposed to register. So some changes in that CoWIN app for quicker changes in sessions and sites. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be vaccinated in the second phase of the COVID inoculation drive launched last week, according to sources. This is being seen, this announcement, or rather this news that was given out by sources, is being seen as a way of promoting vaccine confidence. The Prime Minister will also be interacting with the vaccine beneficiaries and vaccinators in Varanasi today through a video link. Also, all chief ministers, MPs and MLAs above 50 will also receive the vaccines in the second phase of the drive. And this announcement, or rather this news, is being seen as something to take on the vaccine hesitancy that's been seen. Many states are struggling to meet targets and hesitancy to take vaccines, and the fear of side effects are seen as to be part of the reason that they're seeing fewer people turning up for their shots.
The government's new ad campaign to convince health workers and others that the COVID vaccines are safe. This vaccine hesitancy is amid reports of several doses going waste, although authorities say that's within the budgeted quota for wastage.
In a bid to boost confidence, today government sources said that the Prime Minister and India's chief ministers are likely to get vaccinated in the second phase of the vaccination drive. This is when people above the age of 50 will be eligible. But when will this take place and which vaccine is not clear yet.
Here is why the government is worried. At this government hospital in Bengaluru, these healthcare workers spoke about vaccine hesitancy to NDTV on the condition of anonymity.
And I'm having hypertension, BP, thyroid and sugar. So I don't feel like taking COVID injection.
ಅಂತ ಪೀಕ್ ಅವರ್ಸಲ್ಲೇ ನಮಗೆ ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ ಅದು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅದರ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ನಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
In Mumbai, at the city's biggest COVID facility, doctors say turnout for vaccination have come down in the last 2 days, with many health workers in a wait and watch mode.
हर कोई अपने वेट एंड वॉच से ले रहा है. उनको लग रहा है कि आज नहीं मैं कल लूँगा, कल नहीं मैं परसों लूँगा. इस वजह से ये 2 दिन थोड़ा ड्रॉप हुआ है. जो भी लोग सीनियर लोगों ने लिया है यहाँ वैक्सीनेशन, उनसे भी एक मोटिवेशन बोल के सबको बता रहे कि सच्चाई क्या है.
In Northeast Delhi's Rajiv Gandhi Super Speciality Hospital, medical officer Akash Deep Kumar getting vaccinated out of turn to encourage other health workers.
मुझे लगा कि मुझे जल्दी से जल्दी लगवाना, क्योंकि मैं अपने डिपार्टमेंट में मेरे अंडर जितने लोग करते हैं उनको भी मोटिवेट मुझे करना था. तो इसीलिए मैं आज ही आके लगवा लिया इसको.
A vaccination challenge in rural India too. In eastern Uttar Pradesh's Devariya last Saturday, over a quarter of the 400 scheduled beneficiaries did not turn up.
जो बेनिफिशियरी हैं और जो छूट गए हैं उनको मोटिवेट किया जा रहा है कि वो लोग लगाएं. ये उनके लिए हितकर रहेगा और हमारे सभी कर्मचारी अधिकारी बहुत उत्सुक हैं टीका लगवाने के लिए.
Tomorrow is day 2 for Uttar Pradesh. With Sonakshi Chakravarti, Akhilesh Sharma, Pooja Bharadwaj and Sharat Sharma, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
Today, the 11th round of talks will take place between the farmer union leaders and the government. Now, yesterday evening, farmers protesting against the controversial farm sector laws decided to hold out for a complete scrapping of the laws, rejecting the centre's new proposal of putting them on hold for around 18 months. Union leaders had held a marathon meeting on Thursday to discuss the centre's proposal. Some were said to be in favor of it, but finally the decision went against it. The government had put forward the proposal at the 10th round of negotiations with the farmer unions. Protests have broken out among a section of people in Arunachal Pradesh's Upper Subhansiri district following NDTV's expose of China having constructed a new village on territory that's part of the state. Locals carried out a march on Thursday carrying placards and burning effigies of Chinese President Xi Jinping, even as they raised various pro-India, anti-China slogans.
An effigy of China's President Xi Jinping burnt by angry protesters close to the China border in Arunachal Pradesh. This is the headquarters of the Upper Subansiri district, not too far from where China has built a new village in Indian territory, exposed recently by an NDTV report.
NDTV को भी बहुत शुक्रगुजार करना चाहूँगा। मैं भारत सरकार को मोदी जी को एक अपील करना चाहूँगा कि आप इस मुद्दा को लेते हुए आज जो चाइना हमारे ऊपर आक्रमण कर रहे हैं, डे बाय डे इंच करके हमारे जमीन को ले जा रहा है।
The NDTV expose, based on a series of satellite pictures, shows over 100 new houses in an area which earlier had only a China post. The political blame game at New Delhi between the government and opposition had also not gone down well here.
सरकार इस पर बहुत ही जल्दी कुछ कार्रवाई करे। MPs, मिनिस्टर्स एक दूसरे पर ब्लेम काउंटर ब्लेम नहीं करने से अच्छा है, क्योंकि चाहे कोई भी गवर्नमेंट रहा हो, बीजेपी हो, कांग्रेस हो, दोनों ही इसके जिम्मेदारी है। एक दूसरे को ब्लेम नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि जो भी सरकार आई बहुत नेग्लेक्ट किया हम लोगों को।
On 19 January, Arunachal Pradesh Chief Minister Pema Khandu met Prime Minister Modi and sought comprehensive development of the border areas. Local leaders say China has increased its activities on other parts of the border as well. China claims much of Arunachal Pradesh.
इस विषय में प्रधानमंत्री जी को भी मैंने लिखा था कि अरुणाचल प्रदेश में बहुत सारे रोड्स बन रहे हैं, स्पेशली अनिनी एरिया में। भारत सरकार अगर इसमें थोड़ा ध्यान नहीं रखेगा तो शायद हमारा अरुणाचल प्रदेश को या सारा देश को एक बहुत बड़ा खतरा होगा।
Patriotism has been the hallmark of people of Arunachal Pradesh, and China's claims on their land is nothing new. But this time around, people in Arunachal Pradesh would be anxiously looking forward to how New Delhi responds to this increasing Chinese build-up and dominance. With Kardanatam in Daporijo and Maksang Tayang in Pasighat, in Guwahati, Ratandeep Chaudhary for NDTV.
Welcome back. News from Bengal now. Two groups of people clashed at the BJP's Purba Bardhaman district party office in West Bengal on Thursday when a meeting of the saffron camp was in progress. Stones were hurled, vehicles were torched. BJP leaders alleged that Trinamool was behind the incident, while the ruling party in the state denied the charge and claimed it was a fallout of the bickering between old and new members of the saffron camp. During the meeting, members of one group of the two came out of the office, which was recently inaugurated by BJP President JP Nadda. Earlier, we spoke to Monideepa for more details.
This afternoon at about 3:34, I believe, there were meetings being conducted, not just in one BJP office. There was a meeting being conducted at Burdwan in a brand new office that has been built by the BJP, inaugurated only in December. Another meeting was carrying on in Asansol as well. So two separate meetings at two separate places. And at both these places, there was suddenly an explosion of violence within, it is being reported, the BJP supporters and workers who had gathered for the meeting. I know that in Asansol, for instance, the Babul Supriyo was there, Arvind Menon was there, and there was such a commotion that they dragged down the gates, shut the gates of the party office so that there was no trouble, but there was stone throwing. In Burdwan, it got worse. Apparently, some people came out of the office, set fire to some vans standing outside. What we are being told is the clashes were between the old guard of the BJP and the new Trinamool imports. The old guard, curiously, in both places, complaining that the old guard was being ignored in favor of the new entrants from the Trinamool Congress. And this is something the BJP is concerned about. Party leaders in Kolkata have said they will be looking into the matter. This is not the first such incident, and the BJP is certainly concerned that it may not be the last.
And staying with news from West Bengal, a new party has emerged, scrambling for a slice of the 294 seats pie. The man behind it, a popular preacher turned politician. How will it impact the election dynamics? Monideepa reports.
The birth of a new party that will join the scramble for a slice of the 294-seat pie in the Bengal Assembly. Pirzada Abbas Siddiqui is popular preacher, now turned politician, 34 years old, of Furfura Sharif, one of the holiest mazars in the country. His party's goals, lofty, uplift the backward masses, Muslims, tribals, Dalits, but driven by disaffection with Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. Will he split her so-called Muslim vote bank?
हमारे मानने वाला ममता के साथ गए हैं, अभी देखा उन लोगों ने काम तो नहीं किया, फिर भी हमारे जो भाईचारा है हिंदू मुसलमान में उसमें बहुत बड़ा फाटल कर दिए.
Asaduddin Owaisi has said his party AIMIM will contest in Bengal under the Peer. Both vote cutters, scoffs Trinamool. BJP differs.
ये सब बीजेपी का वोट कटुआ है. बीजेपी का वोट कटुआ, इसमें कोई तात्पर्य नहीं है, क्योंकि हम बंगाल के जनता जो है इतने बुद्धू तो नहीं है.
बंगाल के मुसलमान समाज देश में सबसे पिछड़े हैं. ये मेरा नहीं है, सचार कमेटी की रिपोर्ट है. इसीलिए अगर किसी को लगे कोई दल बनाए तो बना सकते हैं. लोकतंत्र में किसी को मना नहीं कर सकते हैं, लेकिन कोई सोच लिया कोई समाज उसके साथ गिरवी है, ये गलत बात है.
The new party will form a front and fight all seats in Bengal, where 30% voters are Muslim. Among them, the Pirzada has made his mark as preacher. But can he pull in the votes? All eyes now on the Peer effect on Bengal polls, a Peer who has said he wants to be kingmaker. With G.D. Shankar, Monideepa Banerjee, NDTV.
In other news now, India fast bowler Mohammad Siraj went to his father's grave the first thing after landing in Hyderabad, his hometown, as he returned from India's tour of Australia. Siraj had lost his father in November 2020 while he was with the team down under. He was given the option of returning home, but the pacer chose to stay back with the team for the rest of the series. Siraj had made his test debut in the second test in Melbourne and finished the Border Gavaskar series with 13 wickets, the most by any Indian bowler. NDTV caught up with him.
I'm here with India's hero, Mohammad Siraj. You came back, आप घर वापस आए, सीधे आप अपने पापा के पास गए. मन में क्या चल रहा है?
बस मैं जब भी मैं आऊँगा तो मैं फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मैं जाऊँगा डैड के पास ही, यही मेरा सोच थी, क्योंकि मैं उनके टाइम पे नहीं था यहाँ पर. तो जो भी मेरा भाई उनके टाइम पे जो भी मेरा भाई संभाला वो इतना इजी नहीं था. तो वही मेरा यही था कि मैं आके घर जाऊँ, डायरेक्ट ग्रेवयार्ड जाऊँ.
और आप कह रहे थे कि हर विकेट जब आप ले रहे थे, न सिर्फ वो 5 विकेट हॉल, पापा को याद कर रहे थे.
मेरा हर जितने भी मैं विकेट लिया, मैं हर विकेट के बाद डेडिकेट मैं डैड को कर रहा था. जो सेलिब्रेशन था वो मेरे डैड के लिए.
बातों बातों में आपने एक बात कही कि न सिर्फ मम्मी, आपके मंगेतर ने भी आपको बहुत सपोर्ट किया इमोशनली.
हाँ, क्योंकि वो सिचुएशन में फियांसे मेरे लिए बहुत सपोर्टिव थी और मोटिवेट थी, क्योंकि मैं डिप्रेशन में जा रहा था. मॉम से मैं 5-10 मिनट बात करता, आफ्टर दैट फिर मैं डिप्रेशन में जाता था. फिर फियांसे ने मुझे बहुत हेल्पफुल किया, वो चीज़ पे बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग बनाया. वो बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट रोल था. वो
बिहारी आपके कैप्टन रह चुके हैं यहाँ पे. हैदराबादी के साथ हैदराबादी का रिलेशनशिप क्या बहुत एक सपोर्टिव था आपके लिए, बहुत सोर्स ऑफ स्ट्रेंथ थी?
हाँ, मेरे लिए तो सपोर्टिव था कि क्योंकि मैं रणजी ट्रॉफी उनके हाथ से डेब्यू किया, उनके हाथ से कैप लिया था, तो मेरे लिए कॉन्फिडेंट भी था और सपोर्ट भी कर रहे थे. और फील्ड पे भी जब मैं बॉलिंग कर रहे थे तो मुझे प्लान बता रहे थे ऐसा कर सकते हैं बैट्समैन के साथ, तो मुझे अच्छा लग रहा था.
और आईपीएल आपने आरसीबी के साथ किया, क्या उसका भी बहुत योगदान रहा जिस तरह का परफॉर्मेंस आपने ऑस्ट्रेलिया में दिया?
हाँ, क्योंकि वो कॉन्फिडेंट ही मुझे आगे लेके गया, क्योंकि आरसीबी की तरफ मैं अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस किया। विराट भाई ने मुझे बैक किया उस सिचुएशन में जब मेरा ख़राब परफॉर्मेंस चल रहा था। तो उसके बाद आरसीबी मैनेजमेंट और विराट भाई ने मेरे ऊपर बहुत ही ट्रस्ट किया। फिर उसके बाद मैं परफॉर्मेंस किया, वो मेरे लिए भी हेल्पफुल था और कॉन्फिडेंट भी अच्छा था।
वैसे भी आपके भाई ने कहा कि विराट कोहली आपके हीरो हैं।
जी, ऑब्वियसली वो मेरे लिए हीरो है।
ओके, वन लास्ट थिंग, वो जो आप रेशियल स्लर की बात जब हुई थी तो क्या किसी तरह से आपको वो उसने स्ट्रेंथन भी किया?
हाँ, मेरे मतलब वो चीज़ अब्यूज़ करना, वो सब करना, मतलब वो उन लोगों की सोच थी कि इसकी बॉलिंग पे कुछ अफेक्ट करे, बट मैं मेंटली इतना स्ट्रांग था कि ये डैड जाने का फिर वो स्ट्रांग बनना, ये चीज़ मुझे अफेक्ट बॉलिंग मैच में कुछ भी अफेक्ट नहीं हुआ। मैं जैसा था वैसी था।
आज भारत का यूथ पावर दिख गया ऑस्ट्रेलिया में, जैसे देखा। अब फिर से सीनियर्स भी वापस आएंगे, लेकिन क्या स्ट्रगल रहेगी?
नहीं, कि अभी सीनियर आने से और स्ट्रांग हो जाएंगी टीम हमारी, तो अच्छा है बहुत।
ओके, फाइनली वन थिंग, हाउ डज इट फील टू बी अ बिग सेलिब्रिटी नाउ दैट यू हैव कम बैक? सबको मालूम है कि आप सब आपको पहचानते हैं आज।
तो ये खुशी की बात है कि मैं अच्छा मतलब एक सेलिब्रिटी बन गया हूँ, तो मैं यही चाहता हूँ कि मैं डाउन टू अर्थ ही रहना चाहूँगा।
Okay, that is what is your beauty also, and best wishes to you and God bless you.
And from one cricketing hero to another, Washington Sundar, one of the Indian cricketing heroes who returned home after Australia, has received a warm welcome at the airport and at home. NDTV Sam Daniel caught up with his father, sister and mother.
We also have Mr. Sundar, Washington's dad. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Exciting time for the family.
Thank you so much. Yeah, very, very exciting. We all feel proud of Washington, Ashwin, Natarajan, the team, whole team India. We are all very, very happy to win the historical test match.
Normally it takes a long tenure as Ranji player perhaps to establish oneself in test matches. What made the difference in the case of Washington?
No, he played Ranji. He got a 156, that is a first class century in Ranji Trophy only as an opener. Washington did not get much batting chances so far, in whether it is a T20 or one day or test match. Of course he did not play. He did very well in first class matches whenever he played. So only he has got a chance to prove himself on that higher level. He is a naturally opening batsman, plays against good medium pacers very well. So this is the right time he got the opportunity and he make use of it.
And you actually named Washington after someone who helped you in your cricketing days. And his achievement now, does it make it all the more special?
Yes sir, very, very special. I always believe Mr. P.D. Washington living in Washington Sundar. So I am very, very happy that he has performed very well, made his name worldwide. So it's a great honor for me and Mr. P.D. Washington's family also.
And where do you see Washington, say, in the next 1 or 2 years?
I've been telling every people, the day will come, Washington will be a legend because he is an inborn cricketer.
Thank you very much for your time, Shailaja.
Hi.
Both of you are cricketers. Is there a kind of a sibling rivalry?
There was, while we were growing up together, playing with each other, against each other, there was a bit of rivalry, but more often than not, no, we've always enjoyed playing together. So yeah, it's been a wonderful journey. Right from my childhood, playing cricket with him has been a wonderful journey.
What's his cricketing you love very much?
I've always enjoyed his batting more than his bowling. I always thought, Washi will make his cut into Indian cricket as a batsman, which was quite unusual. I mean, he played as a bowler, but then I always thought, given the chance, he'll be able to perform with the bat as well. And the first innings that we saw of him was probably one of the best examples of what he's got in him. And the second innings also showed the other side of his batting, where he was able to go after the Australian bowlers. So yeah, we were able to see two different styles of his batting in one game. So it was lovely to watch.
Tonight with Suresh, Sam Daniel, Find It TV.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Good Morning India. I'm Gargi Rawat, and up first, some very sad news coming in from Karnataka, where 8 people have died in an explosion at a blast at a stone mining quarry in Karnataka's Shivamogga district. The possibility of subsequent explosions at the quarry in the village has not been ruled out by the police, and some dynamite sticks are still live. A bomb disposal squad has also been called in, and the entire area has been sealed off by the police. People who died in the explosion were reportedly transporting the explosives which were meant for mining in a truck. When the incident took place, the truck was completely destroyed, is what the police has said. According to reports, the blast was so strong that it was felt in districts around, and window panes shattered, while many houses and even roads developed cracks due to the force of that blast. The Prime Minister's office also tweeted, "Pained by the loss of lives in Shivamogga, condolences to the bereaved families, praying that the injured recover soon." The state government is providing all possible assistance to the affected. Earlier we spoke to Maya for more.
Several people are believed to have died in a blast that occurred near Shivamogga in Karnataka late last night. It is believed that the blast took place because of explosives that were being used for quarrying. The blast took place at a stone quarry a few kilometers, maybe about 7 kilometers from the city of Shivamogga. The exact number of dead is still not officially out. The police control room, though, indicated that at least 8 people were feared dead, but official figures are still out. Details are still to come in with exactitude because it is believed that live dynamite may still be there at the site. And of course, extreme caution has to be exercised before actually going in and ascertaining what happened. They are trying to actually defuse the dynamite to make sure there are no more explosions. Senior police officials have been on the site since late last night. It is said also that a truck which was carrying the explosives has also been completely destroyed. Now, it was in fact feared last night that it was an earthquake. Now, this was quickly confirmed by officials that no earthquake actually happened in that area. But a loud noise heard in Shivamogga and surrounding areas at 10:30 p.m. late on Thursday night. And people believed to have died in that blast, following that blast. It is believed as of now that the blast was accidental, that it has taken lives, that it was caused by explosive used for granite quarrying. But more details are awaited as investigations are still on into that tragic blast in Shivamogga late last night. Maya Sharma for NDTV.
And there you can see visuals coming in of Shivamogga this morning. This is the area where the blast took place. As Maya was saying, it was at a quarrying site. Some reports even suggest there was some sort of illegal quarrying that was taking place. Explosives were being transported on a truck. Dynamite, and that's when this blast took place. The explosives meant for mining were being transported in a truck when they exploded, causing the deaths of at least 8 people. The truck was completely destroyed, according to what police reports say. Now, as we said, that area has been cordoned off. There is also fear that some live sticks of dynamite could still be in that area. So, bomb disposal squad has also been called in. The effect of that blast was felt in districts around. They could hear the blast. Initially, it was even thought that it was an earthquake. However, then, of course, it was revealed that it was a blast which took place during the transportation of dynamite for this quarrying in this area. Well, news now from Pune, where yesterday a massive blaze left 5 people dead at vaccine maker Serum Institute's Pune facility at a building that is under construction. It took around 3 hours for firemen to bring that blaze under control. The fire is believed to have started because of an electrical fault. A second fire then broke out hours later and was brought under control as well. What we have been told by the manufacturers that it's unlikely to hit the production of Covishield, the coronavirus vaccine that's being produced by the Serum Institute of India. Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Uddhav Thackeray, will also visit Pune's institute today. And Adar Poonawala tweeted yesterday after receiving news of the death that we've received some distressing updates. Upon further investigation, we have learned there has been unfortunately a loss of life at the incident. We are deeply saddened and offer our deepest condolences to the family members of the departed. Here's what the minister in Maharashtra, Rajesh Tope, had to say on the fire.
वजह वेल्डिंग का काम वहाँ पर चालू था और वेल्डिंग के स्पार्क जो होते हैं उस स्पार्क इंसुलेशन मटेरियल इर्द गिर्द पड़ा था, तो वो इंसुलेशन मटेरियल इन्फ्लेमेबल होता है, वो इमीडिएटली फायर हुआ, फायर पकड़ा उन्होंने और आग थोड़ी फैली।
Well, let's now go across to Purva, who joins us from outside the Serum Institute. And Purva, this was very shocking given the Serum Institute of India has been so much in the news, you know, with the vaccine drive and the vaccine production taking place there. And now this fire that broke out in which 5 people have died. And we're to understand this is away from the manufacturing unit where the vaccines are being produced. What's the latest you can tell us?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, this building that you see right now, that is the building where the fire broke out yesterday. Now, this is what we've been told is about a kilometer away from the Covishield manufacturing facility. So, nowhere, the Covishield production is being hampered at all. And this was an under construction building. In fact, there was welding work which was going on. According to the government, rotavirus vaccine was to be produced here, and that is why this building was getting ready. And as in fact Minister Rajesh Tope also said that the welding work was going on and there was insulation material all across which in fact caught fire. Now this is the prima facie information that the government also has, but a proper full thorough investigation will follow today, and in fact that is what is expected. The fire audits will take place and will also make sure that whether all safety measures had taken place or not, because in this incident, in this fire incident, 5 laborers who were working inside the building lost their life. 2 were from Uttar Pradesh, 1 was from Bihar, and 2 were local Pune laborers. So in this 5 laborers, they lost their lives, and 6 of them were already rescued. But the smoke was so intense that the fire officers could not go in earlier to do the rescue operation. And once the fire was sort of brought under control, that's when the fire officers went inside, and on the top floor of this building, that's where they found 5 people who were brought dead. So so far this is after the rescue operation went on, it was that 5 people were brought dead and 6 were rescued already. However, the thorough investigation will follow, and today around noon is when we have been told that Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray will also visit this facility. So yes, investigation has to be followed, but prima facie the information that we have is that because of the electric welding work that was going on, that is the reason why the fire broke out yesterday.
All right, Purva, and there will be a thorough investigation into the entire fire incident. Also, the Chief Minister to visit. Thanks so much for joining us with that, Purva, reporting from outside the Serum Institute of India. Well, let's talk now about the vaccination drive, and India is set to cross 10 lakh beneficiaries in the first phase of the vaccine drive. Average of 55 per doses per session is what is being reported so far. Remember, the government was aiming to have 100 doses per session at each of the sites where the vaccine would be given. Also, there are some changes that will be made in the CoWIN app, which is the app to manage the vaccination process. And this is for quicker changes in sessions as well as sites to give more flexibility as the vaccine drive takes place. Now, Prime Minister Modi will be interacting interacting with beneficiaries and vaccinators of the COVID vaccination drive in Varanasi today at around 1:15, and this will be via video conferencing. So this is being seen as another way of boosting the vaccination drive. And yesterday, sources said that the Prime Minister would be vaccinated in the second phase of the inoculation drive, that all Chief Ministers, MPs and MLAs above 50 would also receive the vaccines. Now remember, many states are struggling to meet targets, and hesitancy to take vaccines and the fear of side effects are being seen as part of the reason that we're seeing this reluctance to take the vaccine.
The government's new ad campaign to convince health workers and others that the COVID vaccines are safe. This vaccine hesitancy is amid reports of several doses going waste, although authorities say that's within the budgeted quota for wastage.
In a bid to boost confidence, today government sources said that the Prime Minister and India's Chief Ministers are likely to get vaccinated in the second phase of the vaccination drive. This is when people above the age of 50 will be eligible. But when will this take place and which vaccine is not clear yet.
Here is why the government is worried. At this government hospital in Bengaluru, these healthcare workers spoke about vaccine hesitancy to NDTV on the condition of anonymity.
And I am having hypertension, BP, thyroid and sugar. So I don't feel like taking COVID injection.
ಅಂತ ಪೀಕ್ ಅವರ್ಸಲ್ಲೇ ನಮಗೆ ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ ಅದು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅದರ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ನಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
In Mumbai, at the city's biggest COVID facility, doctors say turnouts for vaccination have come down in the last 2 days, with many health workers in a wait-and-watch mode.
हर कोई अपने वेट एंड वॉच से ले रहा है. उनको लग रहा है कि आज नहीं मैं कल लूँगा, कल नहीं मैं परसों लूँगा. इस वजह से ये 2 दिन थोड़ा ड्रॉप हुआ है. जो भी लोग सीनियर लोगों ने लिया है यहाँ वैक्सीनेशन, उनसे भी एक मोटिवेशन बोल के सबको बता रहे कि सच्चाई क्या है.
In Northeast Delhi's Rajiv Gandhi Super Speciality Hospital, medical officer Akash Deep Kumar getting vaccinated out of turn to encourage other health workers.
मुझे लगा कि मुझे जल्दी से जल्दी लगवाना, क्योंकि मैं अपने डिपार्टमेंट में मेरे अंडर जितने लोग करते हैं उनको भी मोटिवेट मुझे करना था. इसीलिए मैं आज ही आके लगवा लिया इसको.
A vaccination challenge in rural India too. In eastern Uttar Pradesh's Devariya last Saturday, over a quarter of the 400 scheduled beneficiaries did not turn up.
जो बेनिफिशियरी हैं और जो छूट गए हैं उनको मोटिवेट किया जा रहा है कि वो लोग लगाएं. ये उनके लिए हितकर रहेगा और हमारे सभी कर्मचारी अधिकारी बहुत उत्सुक हैं टीका लगवाने के लिए.
Tomorrow is day 2 for Uttar Pradesh. With Sonakshi Chakravarti, Akhilesh Sharma, Pooja Bharadwaj and Sharat Sharma, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
Today is the 58th day of the farmers' protest on the outskirts of Delhi, and today the 11th round of talks will take place between the farmer union leaders and the government. Now, yesterday evening, farmers are protesting against the controversial farm sector laws decided to hold out for a complete scrapping of the laws, rejecting the centre's new proposal of putting them on hold for 18 months. Let's go across to Sunil Prabhu for more on this. And Sunil, you were covering this yesterday, and it was a marathon meeting of the farmer unions. It's also emerged that some of the unions were actually in favor of going with the government solution. However, when they all voted in the end, it was the majority who voted against accepting the government solution. So today the 11th round of talks.
That's right, Gargi. In fact, now with the fact that they have rejected it, the government itself going back for discussions late last night, the agriculture minister as well as Mr. Piyush Goyal discussing with the Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah. They would have definitely consulted the Prime Minister too, and we'll have to wait and see what the outcome is in today's meeting, because somewhere down the line the government has conceded to a great extent. When I say great extent, the fact that it has from a position of not negotiating, not speaking to the opposition, not ready to speak and pushing through those bills in Parliament without any proper discussion, and then getting the President's assent, notifying it, and now of course it has come back to say that it is ready to give a sworn affidavit that it will keep the laws in abeyance, though technically, in legal terms, there is no concept of keeping it in abeyance by a government. It can only be done by the Supreme Court. But nevertheless, we'll have to wait and see whether they will concede to the government's demand, to the farmers' demand of repealing these laws. As you are well aware, they have agreed to at least keep it on hold for 1.5 years. If they're ready to do that because of the Punjab elections or because of the political situation, then can they repeal it further? That's a political call that needs to be taken. And whether the government is ready to concede or not is a matter of concern. But definitely they understand that there is tremendous pressure that is mounting on them.
All right, Sunil, thanks so much for joining us there with the very latest, and do stay on for the next news as well. And today the Congress Working Committee is meeting to draw up a schedule for the election of a new Congress president, as well as to discuss the current political situation, especially with elections in several states due this year. Let's go back to Sunil for more on this. Sunil, so what do we know? And today discussions on the election schedule for president. This is something that's been talked about for months and months.
Well, of course, it's not only about the elections of the Congress president. I think the critical point is about whether there'll be elections for the Congress Working Committee. The last we have seen was after the Tirupati session in Calcutta, where there was elections for the Congress Working Committee. That has been decades. And whether the Congress is ready now once again to have elections for the Congress Working Committee. The argument that has been given consistently against elections for the Congress Working Committee has been that only the rich and the powerful and those with money are able to win that election. And it's in that context we'll have to wait and see. But as of now, there is no concept of even a plenary session being held at this stage. So how they go forward, these elections, the schedule has, the Central Election Authority has been already set up. Mr. Madhusudan Mistry is the chairman of that Central Election Authority. He has held that post earlier and been part of a committee to look into these issues. And once that schedule is set up, the big question is, will Rahul Gandhi contest, or will he be part, or does he want to be the unanimous choice? Because the rank and file within the party would like him to be, but sources close to Rahul Gandhi himself have made it very clear. And I even attempted to ask him this question at that press conference the other day, but he didn't want to be distracted from the core issue. But nevertheless, there is a question of leadership of the Congress party, which Rahul Gandhi has to address, whether he's going to take it up, or who, if not him, then who will be the Congress president.
All right, Sunil, thanks so much for joining us. With that, we'll return to you for more updates. News now from West Bengal, and two groups of people clashed at the BJP's Purva Bardhaman district party office in the state on Thursday when there was a meeting of the saffron camp underway. Stones were hurled, vehicles were torched. Now, BJP has alleged it's Trinamool who was behind this incident, while the Trinamool has instead said that it was bickering between two factions in the BJP, the old and new members of the camp. Let's go across to Moni Deepa now for more. And Moni, any more details available as to who was behind this violence at the BJP office?
Well, you just mentioned the claims and counterclaims, but on the ground, we had at least 7 workers of the BJP arrested from the spot at Burdwan, and they certainly put the whole thing in perspective. They said that they were the old guard of the BJP who had come into the BJP office to protest against the fact that they were being sidelined, and instead, the official group that was dominating everything in the party in that district was the new guard, all the imports from the Trinamool Congress. Remember, we are only talking about the big leaders of the Trinamool who are joining the BJP, but alongside there are dozens and dozens of Trinamool workers who have slipped into the BJP, not just in the last 2 days, but over the last 1 month or so, and that has caused enormous resentment among BJP workers who are the old guard, who had even clashed with these same Trinamool workers in the past, who are now in the dominant position within the party. There are huge concerns growing about this phenomenon, and the BJP itself is referring to it as the TMC-fication of their party. With more Trinamool leaders and workers joining in, this is a problem that is beginning to surface. A problem that we saw not just in Burdwan town yesterday, where at least 4 people were severely injured in the clash, against, with one set supporting Mr. Shandip Nondi, who is the district chief, and another, demanding his resignation. A similar face-off, but behind, downed shutters, took place in Asansol, where Mr. Babul Supriyo was present and the BJP secretary Arvind Menon. There too, the appointment of a Yuva leader and the panel that had been drawn up for the Yuva Morcha of the BJP, that led to huge friction, and the BJP officials quickly pulled down the shutters to the offices so that no one could see, but everyone could hear. Absolute ruckus going on, and Mr. Babul Supriyo confirmed indeed there were some problems within the family.
All right, so Moni, not only are we seeing violent clashes between Trinamool and BJP in West Bengal, but we're also seeing these internal fights breaking out, in terrible visuals there. Vehicles set on fire, vehicles damaged as well in that violence that took place in Burdwan. Now, we do know the full bench of the Election Commission is there in Bengal, and these are the kind of issues they'll be talking about the violence that is being seen there and also preparations.
That's right. They probably first-hand saw the violence that took place yesterday at Burdwan and Asansol. They also had to listen to all the political parties raising the Goli Maro issue that dominated headlines yesterday. Both the Trinamool Congress and the BJP workers had on 2, subsequent days shouted the slogan at the rally. The BJP brought up the issue of partisanship and how there had been arrests in the case of BJP workers who had shouted the slogans, but not in the case of Trinamool Congress. Trinamool blamed the BJP before the Election Commission for introducing verbal terrorism. That apart, of course, security has been top discussion point in all the talks that the EC has held over the last 24 hours with top officials. Some meetings are today scheduled with the Chief Secretary, Home Secretary, DGP of Police. But of course the big question is, when will the polls be held? According to sources, we have to wait for the announcement that will come from Delhi. But what we are hearing from sources in Kolkata is that everything which is elections, counting, declaration of results, will be over and done with on or around, that's what we are being told, for safety's sake, on or around the 4th of May, coinciding with the beginning of the CBSE exams. So we can, expect the elections in Bengal all of April, and by 4th of May, it should all be over and results out.
All right, Monideepa, thanks so much for joining us there with all the very latest. With that, time for us to slip into a short break. Coming up on the other side, we'll get you the latest on Sasikala's health. She tested positive for coronavirus. Welcome back. Expelled AIADMK leader VK Sasikala tested positive for coronavirus yesterday evening and shifted to the COVID intensive care unit. Sasikala was admitted to the medical college with fever and breathlessness on Wednesday, a week before her release from jail. Initially, her test for coronavirus came negative. Her nephew Dinakaran had also rushed to Bengaluru on hearing of Sasikala's illness. And then yesterday evening came the news that she had tested positive for coronavirus and has been shifted to the ICU. And this comes just a week before she is to be released from jail. Let's go across to NDTV's Arvind now for more. And Arvind, her legal team wants better treatment for her. What is the latest that you're hearing?
Gargi, Sasikala, who has been convicted in a disproportionate asset case, is sentenced in a Bengaluru jail. So 2 days back, she fell sick and she was transferred to the jail hospital. From there, she was taken to a Bowring hospital nearby in Bengaluru, where she was treated, and the doctor suspected that she has been infected with corona. So after which, though the RT-PCR test and also the rapid antigen test, both the tests showed that she is COVID negative, but the CT scan showed a worrying sign because her lungs have been infected and she was suffering from severe acute respiratory illness, and that's why she was transferred to. This late night bulletin made it clear that she has been infected with COVID-19 virus along with pneumonia, and the doctors are treating her, and her blood pressure, everything seems to be normal, but still she is being provided with oxygen support. So that's why the family members have taken a call to move court so that she can be moved to a different hospital, preferably a private hospital for better treatment. And that's why her legal team has been alerted so that they will be moving court shortly. Maybe today itself they'll be moving court, seeking a permission from the court to move her to a better hospital, preferably a private hospital. That's what our sources are hinting. So today the application will be filed, and we have to wait and see when the court will take up the matter. And if at all the court takes up the matter, they will be allowed to take her to a private hospital. The family clearly wants her to be taken to a better hospital like Apollo or something, but we have to wait for a court order because even now she is still serving convict, and she is set to walk out of jail only on January 27. So before that, if the family wants to take any call, everything has to be through a court, and that's why the family wants to move court seeking a permission.
All right, Arvind, thanks so much for joining us with the latest developments there. Well, with that, time for us to slip into a short break. On the other side, we'll get you all the international stories. Stay with us. Welcome back. Let's get you the latest on the blast that has taken place in Karnataka's Shivamogga district. 8 people were killed in this explosion. This was at a stone mining quarry in the district. Now, the possibility of subsequent explosions at that same village have not been ruled out. A bomb disposal squad has been called since there could be some dynamite sticks that are still live. Now, what we do know, and this entire area has been sealed off. There you can see the police team this morning at the site of where the explosion took place, and the people who died in the explosion were reportedly transporting the explosives which were meant for mining in a truck when the incident took place, when the blast took place last night at around 10:30. The truck was entirely destroyed in that explosion, and that the aftershocks of that explosion were felt for a long distance all around that entire area. In fact, according to some reports, the blast was so strong that window pane shattered, while many houses and even roads developed cracks due to the blast of those explosives that were being transported in a truck to this mining site. What we do know is that it is a stone quarrying site. Let's go across to Nihal for more. And Nihal, give us the latest. The police at the site and the area has been cordoned off.
Yeah, the area has been cordoned off, and a few moments back I had spoken to the IGP, Inspector General of Police, Davangere Range, who is spearheading the entire operation. What he told me that in a half an hour's time, most probably, expert teams from Mangalore and Bengaluru would be reaching the spot, and only after that they would enter the area where the explosion had taken place, and only then picture will be clear that how many casualties are there. But he confirmed to me that he had seen 2 dead bodies. But the collector of Shivamogga had spoken to the news agency ANI, and he had confirmed 8 deaths. But we should understand this, that the explosion was heard about 35 to 40 kilometers away from the site, and speculations were there that it is a huge earthquake. But later it was confirmed to us that it was not an earthquake. It had happened. The tremors were felt, and his explosion was the result of that blast that had taken place inside a quarry. Now it is not clear whether it is an illegal quarry or some illegally that gelatin sticks and dynamites were being brought there, and what exactly happened. Police is tight-lipped because this is the constituency of Chief Minister B.S. Yedurappa, and so all the details, everything is being monitored, and what we have come to know that soon there will be a press briefing. Only after that we will be able to tell you that what is the position over there, because IGP, Inspector General of Police is there, SP is there, DYSP, entire police force, several officers have also reached there from Bengaluru, but nobody is telling us exactly what exactly had happened at that point of time at 10:20 p.m. on Thursday night. So it is very clear that they don't want to give concrete details. They don't want to share concrete details with media at this stage. We don't know that what is the compulsion, why they are tight-lipped, but we have to see once a press briefing happens, only then they would brief us. The IGP has very clearly told me, and only one thing we can say, that explosion was huge. It was heard about 35 to 40 kilometers away from the place where it had happened. So we should imagine the magnitude of the impact, and that is something very important. But soon there will be some clarity.
All right, Nehal, thanks so much for joining us there with the very latest. So some reports saying that 8 people have died, but the picture will only become clearer once the bomb disposal squad does its work there. Well, some international news now. Japan's government has privately concluded that the Tokyo Olympics will have to be cancelled because of the coronavirus pandemic. This, according to international news agencies. The government's focus is now on securing the Games for Tokyo in the next available year, that's 2032. Games organizers have come out a little while back to say that the Games are definitely on as scheduled. So this is according to what's coming in the international media. Now, India fast bowler Mohammad Siraj went to his father's grave, the first thing he did after landing in Hyderabad as he returned from India's tour of Australia. Siraj had lost his father in November 2020 when he was with the team down under. He was given the option of returning home, but the pacer chose to stay back with the team for the series. Siraj made his test debut in the second test in Melbourne and finished the Border Gavaskar series with 13 wickets, the most by any Indian bowler. NDTV caught up with him.
I'm here with India's hero, Mohammad Siraj. You came back, आप घर वापस आए, सीधे आप अपने पापा के पास गए. मन में क्या चल रहा है?
बस मैं जब भी मैं आऊँगा तो मैं फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मैं जाऊँगा डैड के पास ही, यही मेरा सोच थी, क्योंकि मैं उनके टाइम पे नहीं था यहाँ पर. तो जो भी मेरा भाई उनके टाइम पे जो भी मेरा भाई संभाला वो इतना इजी नहीं था. तो वही मेरा यही था कि मैं आके घर जाऊँ, डायरेक्ट ग्रेवयार्ड जाऊँ.
और आप कह रहे थे कि हर विकेट जब आप ले रहे थे, न सिर्फ वो 5 विकेट हॉल, पापा को याद कर रहे थे.
मेरा जितने भी मैं विकेट लिया, मैं हर विकेट के बाद डेडिकेट मैं डैड को कर रहा था. जो सेलिब्रेशन था वो मेरे डैड के लिए था.
बातों बातों में आपने एक बात कही कि न सिर्फ मम्मी, आपके मंगेतर ने भी आपको बहुत सपोर्ट किया इमोशनली.
हाँ, क्योंकि वो सिचुएशन में फियांसी मेरे लिए बहुत सपोर्टिव थी और मोटिवेट थी, क्योंकि मैं डिप्रेशन में जा रहा था. मॉम से मैं 5-10 मिनट बात करता, आफ्टर दैट फिर मैं डिप्रेशन में जाता था. फिर फियांसी ने मुझे बहुत हेल्पफुल किया, वो चीज़ पे बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग बनाया. वो बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट रोल था वो.
बिहारी आपके कैप्टन रह चुके हैं यहाँ पे. हैदराबादी के साथ हैदराबादी का रिलेशनशिप क्या बहुत एक सपोर्टिव था आपके लिए, बहुत सोर्स ऑफ स्ट्रेंथ थी?
हाँ, मेरे लिए तो सपोर्टिव था कि क्योंकि मैं रणजी ट्रॉफी उनके हाथ से डेब्यू किया, उनके हाथ से कैप लिया था, तो मेरे लिए कॉन्फिडेंट भी था और सपोर्ट भी कर रहे थे. और फील्ड पे भी जब मैं बॉलिंग कर रहे थे तो मुझे प्लान बता रहे थे ऐसा कर सकते हैं बैट्समैन के साथ, तो मुझे अच्छा लग रहा था.
और IPL आपने RCB के साथ किया, क्या उसका भी बहुत योगदान रहा जिस तरह का परफॉर्मेंस आपने ऑस्ट्रेलिया में दिया?
हाँ, क्योंकि वो कॉन्फिडेंट ही मुझे आगे लेके गया, क्योंकि RCB की तरफ मैं अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस किया. विराट भाई ने मुझे बैक किया वो सिचुएशन में जब मेरा ख़राब परफॉर्मेंस चल रहा था. तो उसके बाद RCB मैनेजमेंट और विराट भाई ने मेरे ऊपर बहुत ही ट्रस्ट किया. फिर उसके बाद मैं परफॉर्मेंस किया, वो मेरे लिए भी हेल्पफुल था और कॉन्फिडेंट भी अच्छा था.
वैसे भी आपके भाई ने कहा कि विराट कोहली आपके हीरो हैं.
जी, ऑब्वियसली वो मेरे लिए हीरो है.
Okay, one last thing. वो जो आप रेशियल स्लर की बात जब हुई थी, तो क्या किसी तरह से आपको वो उसने स्ट्रेंथन भी किया?
हाँ, मेरे मतलब वो चीज़ अब्यूज़ करना, वो सब करना, मतलब वो सोच उन लोगों की सोच थी कि इसकी बॉलिंग पे कुछ अफेक्ट करे, बट मैं मेंटली इतना स्ट्रांग था कि डैड जाने का फिर वो स्ट्रांग बनना, ये चीज़ मुझे अफेक्ट बॉलिंग मैच में कुछ भी अफेक्ट नहीं हुआ, मैं जैसा था वैसी था।
आज भारत का यूथ पावर दिख गया ऑस्ट्रेलिया में, जैसे देखा। अब फिर से सीनियर्स भी वापस आएंगे, लेकिन क्या स्ट्रगल रहेगी?
नहीं, कि अभी सीनियर आने से और स्ट्रांग हो जाएंगी टीम हमारी, तो अच्छा है बहुत।
ओके, फाइनली वन थिंग, हाउ डज इट फील टू बी अ बिग सेलिब्रिटी नाउ दैट यू कम बैक? सबको मालूम है कि आप सब आपको पहचानते हैं आज।
तो ये खुशी की बात है कि मैं अच्छा मतलब एक सेलिब्रिटी बन गया हूँ, तो मैं यही चाहता हूँ कि मैं डाउन टू अर्थ ही रहना चाहूँगा।
Okay, that is what is your beauty also, and best wishes to you, and God bless you.
And another cricketing star, Washington Sundar, also returned home after that spectacular win in Australia. He received a warm welcome at the airport and at home. NDTV's Sam Daniel caught up with his father, sister and mother.
We also have Mr. Sundar, Washington's dad. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Exciting time for the family.
Thank you so much. Yeah, very, very exciting. We all feel proud of Washington, Ashwin, Natarajan, the team, whole team India. We are all very, very happy to win the historical test match.
Normally it takes a long tenure as Ranji player perhaps to establish oneself in test matches. What made the difference in the case of Washington?
No, he played Ranji. He got a 156, that is a first class century in Ranji Trophy only as an opener. Washington did not get much batting chances so far, in whether it is a T20 or one day or test match. Of course he did not play. He did very well in first class matches whenever he played. So now he has got a chance to prove himself on that higher level. He is a naturally opening batsman, plays against good medium pacers very well. So this is the right time he got the opportunity and he make use of it.
And you actually named Washington after someone who helped you in your cricketing days. And his achievement now, does it make it all the more special?
Yes, sir, very, very special. I always believe Mr. P.D. Washington living in Washington Sundar. So I am very, very happy that he has performed very well, made his name worldwide. So it's a great honor for me and Mr. P.D. Washington's family also.
And where do you see Washington, say, in the next 1 or 2 years?
I've been telling every people, the day will come, Washington will be a legend because he is an inborn cricketer.
Thank you very much for your time, Shailaja.
Hi.
Both of you are cricketers. Is there a kind of a sibling rivalry?
There was, while we were growing up together, playing with each other, against each other, there was a bit of rivalry, but more often than not, no, we've always enjoyed playing together. So yeah, it's been a wonderful journey. Right from my childhood, playing cricket with him has been a wonderful journey.
What's his cricketing you love very much?
I've always enjoyed his batting more than his bowling. I always thought, Washi will make his cut into Indian cricket as a batsman, which was quite unusual. I mean, he played as a bowler, but then I always thought, given the chance, he'll be able to perform with the bat as well. And the first innings that we saw of him was probably one of the best examples of what he's got in him. And the second innings also showed the other side of his batting, where he was able to go after the Australian bowlers. So yeah, we were able to see two different styles of his batting in one game. So it was lovely to watch.
Tonight with Suresh, Sam Daniel, Find TV.